Hi everyone, and welcome back. Today we are tackling a grammar point that is incredibly common and useful: gerunds. We will look at what they are, how to use them correctly, and clear up some common mistakes. Mastering gerunds will definitely make your English sound more natural. Let's begin. Let's start with a simple definition. What is a gerund? A gerund is a verb that ends in ing but acts like a noun. Think of words like reading, swimming, eating, or studying. And just like any other noun, a gerund doesn't change for tense or subject. It stays in its ing form. Because they are nouns, gerunds can do all the jobs a noun does in a sentence. Let's look at the most common roles. First, a gerund can be the subject, the main thing being talked about. For example, swimming is excellent exercise. Here, swimming is the main focus of the sentence. Second, a gerund can be the object of a verb, the thing receiving the action. For example, she really enjoys reading. In this sentence, reading is the object of the verb enjoy. It's the thing she enjoys. Third, a gerund can be the object of a preposition. This happens after words like of, about, for, without, and by. For example, they left without saying goodbye. This is a very common and important pattern in English. Fourth, gerunds can also work as subject complements. This means they rename or describe the subject after a be verb. For example, his favorite hobby is painting. The gerund painting completes the idea by telling us what the hobby is. And finally, gerunds can work as object complements. This happens when a gerund follows and describes the direct object. For example, we saw him dancing. Here, him is the direct object, and dancing tells us what he was doing. So, the gerund dancing complements the direct object him. So, gerunds look like verbs, but they are truly versatile, which makes them a powerful tool for your English. Now let's look at one of the most important uses of gerunds, using them after certain verbs. In English, many common verbs are always followed by a gerund, not an infinitive. This is a rule you have to memorize. Some of the most common ones are enjoy, finish, avoid, consider, mind, suggest, recommend, keep, imagine, and practice. Here are a few examples. She enjoys cooking. He avoided talking to me. They suggested meeting earlier. I'm considering changing my job. In all of these sentences, the gerund, the verb with ing, is the direct object of the main verb. It's crucial to remember this rule. With these specific verbs, we cannot use the infinitive. So we say, enjoy cooking, not enjoy to cook. And avoid talking, not avoid to talk. This is a very common pattern in daily conversation, so getting it right will make your English sound much more natural. Another absolutely essential use of gerunds is after prepositions. In English, this is a very strong rule. Whenever you have a preposition, the verb that follows must be in the gerund form. This applies to all prepositions like about, of, for, and also to time expressions like before and after when they are used as prepositions. Here are some examples. She's thinking about meeting him. He's afraid of flying. Thank you for helping me. I'm interested in learning Spanish. Before starting, read the instructions. In all of these sentences, the preposition is immediately followed by the gerund. So remember, after any preposition, we always use verb plus ing, never the infinitive. You will hear this pattern constantly in everyday English. Now let's look at a third very common situation for gerunds. After an adjective that is followed by a preposition. Many adjectives in English are naturally linked to specific prepositions, and after such prepositions, you must use a gerund. Some useful patterns include good at something, interested in something, afraid of something, tired of something, etc. Here are some examples. She's good at solving problems. They're interested in studying abroad. He is tired of listening to complaints. I'm worried about making a mistake. Do you see the pattern? The structure is always adjective plus preposition plus gerund. So remember, when you have an adjective followed by its specific preposition, the next word is always verb plus ing. Another important use of gerunds is after certain fixed expressions. These phrases always require the ing form, and using an infinitive after them would be incorrect. Some of the most common expressions are it's no use, it's worth, it's no good, there's no point in, can't help, can't stand, look forward to, and be used to. Here are some examples. It's no use worrying. It's worth trying again. There's no point in arguing. I can't stand waiting in long queues. We look forward to seeing you. She is used to working late. With all of these expressions, the verb that follows must be in the ing form. These are fixed expressions in English, so it's a good idea to remember them. They usually take a gerund. Now that we have seen all the rules, let's tackle some of the most common mistakes learners make with gerunds. Being aware of these will help you avoid them. The first mistake is using an infinitive after a verb that requires a gerund. For example, she enjoys to travel is incorrect. We must say she enjoys traveling. Verbs like enjoy, avoid, finish, and mind must be followed by a gerund. The second mistake is using a gerund after a verb that requires an infinitive. For example, she decided changing her plan is incorrect. The correct form is she decided to change her plan. Verbs such as decide, hope, want, and agree take the infinitive form, not the gerund. The third mistake is using an infinitive after a preposition. For example, I'm interested in to join the club is incorrect. We should say, I'm interested in joining the club. After any preposition, we always use verb plus ing. And the fourth mistake is forgetting the ing ending when a gerund is needed. For example, we finished cleaning the kitchen is not correct. The correct form is we finished cleaning the kitchen. So remember, some verbs take gerunds, some take infinitives, and after prepositions, you must always use the ing form. That brings us to the end of this lesson on gerunds. You should now have a solid understanding of what the ing form can do, the key rules for using it, and the most common mistakes to avoid. In the next video, we are going to compare gerunds and infinitives side by side. If this video was helpful, please give it a like and share it with your friends. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next lesson. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next video, and I'll see you there.